Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to be talking about why Fender gets a bad rap with distortion, and then I'm also going to prove that Fenders can get a good distortion tone. Going to be using my Fender Highway 1 Telly. It's about 2005, 2006. Bought it recently. I love this thing. I cannot stop. Like every time I pick up this guitar, I just cannot not play Led Zeppelin. It just like has that thing. It's like, well, that's a bad example of a song, but I'll show you pretty soon. But okay, so Fender. What do you think of when you hear the word Fender guitars and amps? It's not a word, but phrase. Let's just say phrase. You think Fender Twins, Strats, Tellys, cleans. Really, bluesy cleans. Guys like maybe Muddy Waters. He used a Telly. Pretty much any recording artist from the 50s and 60s, they're pretty much have used a Telly or a Strat, and at one point, these things are just like the most recorded guitars ever. So there's no doubt that you haven't heard one. There's no way you haven't heard, a Telly at one point, or a Strat. And, you've probably all heard them clean. But there's also an example of where you have heard pretty much a Telly on an entire album and heard great distorted tones. And you're like, oh man, those are probably a Les Paul, but they're not. Actually, Led Zeppelin 1 whole album was recorded on a Telecaster. It was the Dragon Telly, like with the crazy paint job on it. If you want to see that footage of it being used, look up Dazed and Confused Live, and you'll see one where it's like Robert Plant wearing like a yellow shirt and stuff. But yeah, so, and you'll see him using a Telly, and it sounds great. God, flies everywhere. It sounds great, he has a fuzz pedal, so it's really nice and heavy. But yeah, great distorted tones. Actually, back on the Led Zeppelin 1 thing, not the entire album was recorded on a Telly. There was one song, it was You Shook Me. The song You Shook Me, that was recorded on Flying V. But other than that, whole album recorded on a Telly. So if you want to go back and listen to Led Zeppelin 1, I'd recommend you do that often. Great album. But yeah, go listen to it, and you would be surprised, that some of these tones that you're hearing is not a Les Paul, because you normally think Jimmy Page, Les Paul, boom, which you wouldn't be wrong, but in the case of Led Zeppelin 1, you kind of are. Not to sound like a know-it-all or anything, but you get what I mean. It's not. It's not a Les Paul. It's just a Telecaster, and especially some of those solos, the really piercing solos. That's where kind of the Telly character comes out. Okay, enough talking about Led Zeppelin. I could do that all day. But that would. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna play Moby Dick off the album Led Zeppelin 2, and I'm gonna use some distortion from the Marshall DSL-15C. It's got my back on that. No lack of distortion on here. And I'm gonna be using the bridge pickup, but I got the tone rolled pretty far back, like not like all the way off, like you can hear how much gain there is there, but just. There we go. That's perfect. So yeah, not all the way off, but pretty darn close. But yeah, so this is Moby Dick by Led Zeppelin. So, yeah, man, that's all telly. No pedals being used either. No tricky pedals. Now you're probably thinking, well, I just heard a pedal clicking. That was me switching the channel on the amp. I'm using the clean channel because it's a little more quiet, doesn't buzz. But yeah, sorry if I played the riff wrong. I just learned it like an hour ago. I was watching a guy's YouTube channel, like riffs, Telly versus Les Paul, Led Zeppelin riffs, Telly versus Les Paul, and that song was played on a Telly, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta get my Telly to play that, learn that song now, because it's amazing. But yeah, so I mean that's just if I switch channels, not using any pedals, you know. Rob Chapman, you'll go, ugh. But yeah, that just. Such a ballsy sound. Like, it might sound different over my phone camera and YouTube compression and all that, but very nice punchy sound coming from the Telly. Yeah, it's a little bit twangy, but that's just kind of what to expect. From a Telly, that's what they do. They twang, Telly twang. But if you roll back the tone a fair bit, you can get some pretty nice distortion tones. Now let's just crank up that gain. I really want to hear what this thing can do. Hit a little lighter on the strings. I think it cleans up really well because of the output of the Telly pickups. Like, it's not very hot, so it just kind of. All right, well, that's that, and my time limit's almost coming up here, so I gotta go. Hope you all enjoyed the video, because I really did, and I think this sounds great. Try it at home if you have one. If you don't, go out and buy a Telly. I'll see you guys later.